Get rid of your credit card debt, get a lower monthly payment, and skip your next 2 house payments at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to save thousands with SaveWithConrad.com. Find out how much money you can save right now at SaveWithConrad.com.
So come on down. We're walking in the Dogg Pound Road, D-O-double-G, Dogg and Cash. Talking shop, reminiscing on a flashback. Hall of Fame name with a legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
And welcome back to the show. It's Casio.
And you're listening to, oh, you didn't know? I scooted my chair back for that one. Oh, Shiza Manelli. And then I knocked my microphone over. But this is starting off bonanza. Yeah, and the people, they go banana.
I wish people could see how normal, well, not normal, but we've got everything together. We're having a blast. And as soon as record hits, chaos breaks out.
We lose it. Well, let's be honest, I lose it. I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat because honestly, I'm at the age where I don't care what people think anymore. So let me have it. I got a lot on social media the other day, but I've blocked all people that hate me, I think, because I don't see any of it.
Nice.
But I don't know that that's true. I don't know if that's possible. But like, if you come at me with some severe hate, chances are I just block you and don't engage in that. But like, from what I gathered on my timelines, I got some, and I don't even know what it was about, but I'm sure it was Dom and MJF comparisons. Whatever. It's people's opinions. But I'm just glad mine matters so much that it angers you and it rents space in your head. So thank you.
Well, look, what we're just coming off of, and I thought was absolutely fun, and I've been seeing a lot of good feedback, is our last episode with Mr. Nick Patrick. Man.
Oh, yeah.
So much fun to catch up with him.
It really was, and long story long, because it's my podcast, and I have an hour and a half probably to kill. So, long story long again. I started over. So we recorded that one time before, and in the change up of producers, and I have blamed it on one brother before, but I understand it was the other brother's fault. I'll just leave it at that, because I think that legally that covers all my bases, except for short left center field, which I think is in, I'm not sure. But anyway, so the episode got lost. Like, we lost the episode that we recorded with Nick Patrick. Holy crap, that was a good episode. I haven't talked to Nick in probably 10 years. And I'm dead serious about that. I saw Nick's wife in the airport in Atlanta, and I talked to her, but I haven't talked to him. You know what I mean? And so it was really cool to catch up with him that first time, and there was some magic there. In the interim of, oh my God, we lost Nick Patrick and we have to schedule Nick Patrick again because we got to do it again. It was fun. There was some wondering for me personally about, like, oh, this is going to be the craps. I already talked to him now. It's been, and it wasn't that way at all. It was really fun. It was really organic. I actually felt it was better than the first one by a lot. So maybe that was the universe way of telling me, stop phoning it in, Bryan. I'm just kidding. And don't worry, I'm going to continue to phone it in.
Thank you. So far, phoning it in.
Yeah.
So we're good.
None of us have any doubts of anything else.
I recorded the mailbag for ad-free shows with Nick Patrick after that, and he said the same thing. He said, man, talking to Dogg again was more fun because we were in the groove.
Yeah,
like we always have been.
And that's exactly it. It was almost like the first one. There was trepidation, and not because of anything other than time. You know what I mean? Like, our relationship has been nothing ever but awesome because he was like one of my brothers. You know what I mean? Like, he wrestled down here, then he reffed down here, then he reffed, and lived together as much as possible. When he was a ref in WCW and I was in WCW, and then I went to WWF at the time and got fired, and then he went there, and so we've always been very close and had a great relationship. Excuse me. I kind of just wanted to tell that story to bury one of our producers, and I'm going to let whoever wants to feel the heat, it's yours to feel. And that, that's cool. That's,
heat
I feel like
is
that's,
on.
yeah.
It's on the feet.
It's Sona D'Angelo.
Well, Dogg, as we can, about to get into this one, we're going to do Money in the Bank 2018. First off,
2018.
Current time.
That was half a decade ago.
Current time. New belts, new titles
New
in
titles.
the WWE, man. How exciting is this?
I'm gonna forgive you for calling them belts, but that's cool. Yeah, look,
They
you're the lay person. I
Yes.
get that. You love a good lay potato
I'm
chip.
just a fan. I'm just a fan.
Oh no, I was talking about your chip preference.
Love OG Lays.
The titles. Look, I think it's exactly what Hunter has always been, a traditionalist. From his training with Kowalski to his mentoring by Flair to his everything he's done has been with respect to tradition in this industry. And so I think these are, but you can't just copy another title that was good. Don't just go like, oh, people love that one. No, you have to be the innovator. And now I think we've seen, speaking very currently, is the women's titles also have done the same thing. So you're going to have a world champion and a WWE champion, or a universal champion and a world champion. I'm not sure where the names exactly lay now, and is Roman Reigns still undisputed? I think things like that are going to come out and are really intriguing to me, not as an inside the circle guy, but as a viewer, as a fan, which I've tried to do a lot this stint in this specific job, just to watch so I can give you nuances of that on a live event. But I don't know. It's all intriguing to me. I love the new titles. They're huge. They're beautiful. But yet they're big and plain too. And I think that's tradition. Look, we all went the way of the big eagle and the big spinner and the big this and the big that. Sure. I think these go back to what a championship title looks like. And that's my opinion, and I'm sure the internet will hate me for that too. Guess what? We're recording, it's Sunday, so you can hate me all day today. And then tomorrow's Monday. You can hate me that day too.
Well, there's no doubt. There's some of the titles out there, the belts that the word I say is busy. They just get too busy, and you're just like, there's a lot to digest. Look at that. That's a good looking big belt right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good gold strap that's very intricate in the inner workings too. That's very, you know what I mean, inside of it, if you held it and feel it. Like it's a title, and it's what it looks like. And what does it display as big as all day? The brand of the logo of your brand. I mean, so it's branding. It's all of the above, as in smart for business. And I mean, today's business, not even the wrestling business. I'm just talking about today, and with business sense in mind, it's genius. And for our business, for the wrestling business, it was made with tradition in mind. So that's how I see it, and you can see it differently if you would like. I'm sure a lot of people do. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people do, but what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like the titles. I like what they stand for. I understand why they look like what they look like, and I accept it. I've also learned in my lifetime that acceptance is the key to serenity, and that serenity is a superpower. You know what I mean? Like peace in your mind is okay. And look, this is hard. This is the hardest thing you do all day, every day. For me, it is. The person who can do this, his name is the Dalai Lama, I think. But like, if you can maintain peace of your mind because of acceptance, holy mackerel, what a gift that is. Like, yeah, these are the titles. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. Well, here we go. You know what I mean? We do WrestleMania, and the next day go, okay, Monday Night Raw, here we go. Right. So it's a blip on the radar and a moment in time that in the big picture means absolutely nothing. And what I'm talking about here is the fuss over change. You know what I mean? That's, I guess, what I was talking about. And you didn't even mention that. Maybe I brought it up in my head, and maybe that's me being negative. And if it is, I apologize.
Spoiler alert, it's going to change again in the future.
Yeah.
Guess
what?
It's changed all the time. So it'll just, if you don't like it, stick around. Maybe you'll like the next one.
Yeah, amen.
Speaking of coming up in a few weeks, WWE Money in the Bank this year coming up on July 1st, Dog.
Yes.
What does Money in the Bank mean for WWE?
Well, look, I'll tell you what it means for one individual, and I think that's the cool allure for me personally. Look, it's a for what it means for WWE is it's a PLE, a premium live event where you are getting revenue from it from a global audience, and with this one particular, you get to start a storyline for the next 11 months or for the next 9 months, I guess, 9-10 months, of is this individual who you literally trust with the next year of television. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it, because if you want this Money in the Bank person to play a proper and important role in the year-long creative of that champion having to look over his shoulder. You know what I mean? You want that guy. That guy is not chosen lightly. I'll tell you that much. And so it means a world of good for that guy. Ribbingly, he'll probably have to carry the briefcase on airplanes and stuff. But for real, it's like a real shot in the arm for creatively for an individual. And so I look at the list so far, and when this airs prior to it, right? Yeah. I look at the list because I think we only have 4 guys so far creatively in the match. The 4 I've seen in there that I know of, and if I'm wrong, I feel horrible. You'll probably have 2 more by the time this airs. Anyway, I can see any of those guys playing a pivotal role for 9 months on my television show. You know what I mean? Like, and so super, super cool to me as a creative step. So you get something out of the premium live event. You get a holy mackerel. It's a guy with a golden ticket, right, to any time he wants to. And we've seen in the past, sometimes the next night they cash in. And you know what I mean? Like sometimes and so if this person is an interesting character and can carry the weight of the briefcase, if that makes sense to you, they're gonna have a great 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, so far in the men's, it's Ricochet, Shinsuke, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, and another to be determined.
Oh, okay. So we only do have one. So that's my bad. I was off a guy. So yeah, literally, I can see, and I'm not kidding, each of those individuals. And look, I only have my own SmackDown writing history to go by, but that's any of those individuals I could totally see putting this briefcase on and having like I said, another 9 months to a year story. You know what I mean? Built in. And so I'm interested in this year's Money in the Bank. Look, I think, like I said at the very beginning, because I think it's the boring part, is the business aspect of it. It's a PLE. It's overseas. It's going to draw record grosses. It's going to be, you know what I mean? Like business-wise, it's a no-brainer. And I was talking, I guess, more from a creative writing standpoint. And if I was writing, how bad I'd be fighting to get one of those guys that briefcase if they were on my show, you know?
In the female side, the women's side, Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, and Io Sky, and one more as well.
Yeah.
And same thing there. I can see all of those ladies carrying it.
Well, you know, who my favorite is, and this is gonna Io Sky. Like there's something about Io Sky, and my wife even feels it too. Like on her entrance, there's something so abstract and just, I don't know if she's acting drunk or if she's acting I don't care, or I don't know her motivation for walking like that on her entrance, but me and my wife love it. I love I love Io Sky. I always yell, Io Sky, you're my favorite wrestler. And then like Asuka will
She
walk
talk
by.
back?
No, she never. She just looks at me and smiles. I think she knows I'm crazy. She's just like, oh yes, you crazy old man. But she is one of my faves because she's daring as the day is long, and she's great in the ring, man. She's got great timing. She's got, I don't know. I love her. I love Asuka. I think Asuka is one of the greatest women's wrestler of our time, and I firmly believe that, and I don't think there's many that I would even compare to her as far as the total package. She can't speak good English, but her energy and her facials and her she emotes a language that is, you know what I mean? It's universal. I get it when she screams something at you. I get it when she acts. I get it. And so, to me, her wrestling, her in the ring stuff is, I'd second to none. You know what I mean? And I think her transitions, like she's the one that does it the most fluently, if you ask me. I don't know. And so Io is in that conversation, I guess, is where I started, but yeah, Io's in that conversation to me. There's something about her that is magnetic and attractive.
She's got it.
Yeah.
Before we get into Money in the Bank 2018, we always got to start off on a fun note. Our meme of the week.
Oh, should I put my readers on?
Sometimes some people call that meow.
Oh, meme of the week. Yeah, meow. That makes perfect sense. And that's here on the Dog Show, we should have a cat reference.
Meow. Meme entertainment of the week. Meow. So, Macho Man Randy Travis. Yes.
Wait, you got to give me a second. Yeah, there's
digging up bones, bro.
I'm digging up bones, yeah.
On the other hand's a golden man. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, Mom, no hands.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't have said the look, Mom, no hands thing. I think he wrecked doing no hands.
What's the one where he does the story about the bus crash and the preacher giving him the Bible? I mean, he does.
I don't know.
On the other hand, there's a golden man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a golden hair that reminds me of someone who would not understand.
You wouldn't understand, Macho Man Randy Travis.
On one hand, I could stay and be your loving hand.
Oh, loving hand. Oh, yeah.
But the reason I must go is on the other hand.
The other hand.
Okay, we did it. We did it.
On the other hand.
Okay, that was the meow. That was
meow.
The ooh, meow. And next week we'll have to do another voice and see meow.
All right, let's get in. Let's go back 5 years when you were involved with Money in the Bank 2018. We're coming off
fun, till her daddy takes the T-bird away. Sorry, I was reading something over in the sidebar. I got distracted. Dom, stop playing with your tweeter.
We do need a Beach Boys track. We got a lot for singing Beach Boys. We nailed it, and everybody loves a Beach Boys track. Huh?
We sang it. I mean, I'll give you that much.
We sang it.
Well,
we
sung it. I think we sung it, maybe.
We're coming off Backlash 2018, which we covered last month, so check that out in the archives. Great episode, diving back into that.
Yep.
But now as we get ready for Money in the Bank 2018, Paige is now the full-time role as general manager,
Yep.
Dog. What'd you think of her in this role? Was she easy to work with in this role?
Oh yes, she was a pleasure to work with, and she sunk her teeth into it. When it was the gig, her and I spoke, and she came ready to work every week, and she knew it wasn't going to be hard. But look, I like to use her too because I think she was a figure, a known figure, an established figure, a fan favorite figure, and I loved her British accent. You know what I mean? So that to me is cool. Well, look, we put her cousin on Raw commentary, I think. I'm not sure. I just made that a part of it. But us Americans love some British accents.
We do.
Australia is my new favorite because of Bluey, so I'm trying to master it. But I know you have the razor blades.
See, you remembered it.
But I'm still working on that. We'll work on that later. I totally forgot what we were talking about.
We're talking about Paige as the full-time general manager and nailing it.
Yeah. Look, I'm a fan of hers. That's all there was to it. I was. And again, I think I've said this before, and I get confused about my own beliefs because I'm not smart. But, not my own beliefs, my own facts. I think it was Emma and her had the first women's wrestling match that I ever thought, holy crap. It was my, and we can talk about this too if you want to, or you can change the subject because it's boring. Is an epiphany still an epiphany if everybody else knew it was a fact, but I was late to the game and it, you know what I'm saying?
It's your epiphany though. It's your epiphany.
Yeah, it is still real to me. It's still an epiphany to me. But it was, man, holy crap. These women are wrestling. You know what I mean? I was in the Attitude Era where the women weren't wrestling. And so in my mind, I don't know, man. I'm not a smart dude, and I'm coming around to a lot of crap, but I came around to this one pretty early for me. Holy crap. These ladies are doing it. You know what I mean? And they're doing it and doing it and doing it well. And it opened my eyes to how good this could be. And then I thought the same when she was a performer. I was a fan too, so.
Every role she was ever in, she went full force, committed to it, and knocked it out of the park. Yep. As you're putting together this pay-per-view, you're combining Raw and SmackDown superstars, male and female, for two big matches. How do you navigate that? Is that a Vince call, and you guys fill in underneath, or how does that go?
Well, it definitely changed a little bit, and look, I think it's a not necessarily a Vince call, but a boss call, and I think it would be a boss call, whoever the boss is. But it's now it's even, at least. You try to get every team for itself. It's the same as with Survivor Series. It's totally going to be a upper management mediator type, because look, I was the writer of SmackDown. If it was up to me, I'd have won every match. My guys would have won everything. You know what I mean? My guy won Money in the Bank, and my guy won. That's what I want. And you go oh, well, how selfish. Well, yeah, I'm writing my show. I ain't writing their show. You're asking me what I want. Now, we can negotiate and come down to what I would like and what you need and what so it's always going to come down to somebody else going, this is how we're going to do it. And so I think that's just, not the business. That's just business.
Yeah, somebody's got to make the final decision.
Somebody makes the call. You know what I mean? And that's that. It ain't never been me.
As we start the timeline, The Miz would defeat Jeff Hardy to qualify for the match on SmackDown. Both of those guys being in the ring together always hits. I mean, that's just a great pairing.
Yeah, and they're both been around a long time. They know what they're doing. To me, that's a great pairing. And the only thing right now, it was half a decade ago that we're talking about here. And the only thing I'm interested, because I didn't read the notes, and I apologize, Derek. I'm going to hear the questions and I'll answer them. But I'm interested to see if we didn't get Jeff back in there somehow.
Stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, stay tuned for me and for you too, listening audience, viewing audience.
Charlotte is trying to get back into the women's title picture after Carmella cashed in and defeated her. The best part about Charlotte is you can plug her into anything and she makes it work.
Yeah, and proof in the pudding is right now. You know what I mean? You're seeing it again right now, and it's just as good, if not better, because she's been on top for all that time. You know what I mean? Yes. Even though she was away for a little bit, she's almost legend status in today's fast-paced world. You know what I mean? Holy crap, she's been doing this for, 10 years now, and she's been on top for that long. You know what I mean? That's something to say for yourself. So she's in legendary status already. And so you're right. When she pops back in, things happen. And this is why I would like to cover something. And this is just me getting the viewer, the listener, to at least open their mind, and even the people that hate my guts, to open their mind and go, man, Carmella cashed in on Charlotte Flair. But it was done after the debut of, I think it was the IIconics. Or no, it might have been the Riot Squad. Find out, Dom. It was the Riot Squad or the IIconics. Or, yeah, anyway. Some of them beat down Charlotte. Here she came, cashed in. And so that could happen the next night. That could happen whenever. And then you're into another storyline. For the haters and the naysayers out there, oh my God, I can't believe they put the title on her. That buries Charlotte. That does this. You know, Charlotte's back and she's on top of the world. You know what I mean? It doesn't do that. It's a creative step that you may not agree with, but it's a creative step and there are no rules and there are no limits. And so you can do anything. And we are our own critics and we see what works and see what don't. And they go, oh, well, that works. We'll do that. You know what I mean? So it's just a creative idea that you don't agree with.
You were right. Works. It was the IIconics. That's why she would face Peyton Royce in her qualifier to get into the ladder match. But how important is it? I know we can sling Charlotte
that booking
in there.
Right there.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Somebody was there.
I'm just gonna say that out loud. Leave it. If I was tweeting, it would be ... hashtag OUDK, hashtag OU didn't know. Yeah.
Well, we know Charlotte's going to hold it together, but Peyton is in a big spot. They've just debuted. Now she's getting in a qualifier match with Charlotte. How important is it to have someone who can hold a match together in these types of matches?
Well, to be quite honest, we picked Peyton because she was the stronger of the worker. You know what I mean? To have that caliber of match with that much gravity to it. You know what I mean? So we thought they could both. Well, we knew Charlotte could, and we knew Peyton could too. So we knew they could have a good match. That's not to say the other one, and I want to take a second to talk about the IIconics because Peyton Royce, I thought, was awesome, but she was only awesome, in my opinion, with Billy because Billy was, like, to me, Peyton was the workhorse, and I wanted her in the match if one of them has to work because the wrestling's going to look better. Mm-hmm. But the gold of that duo was the comedy and their promos up front, and their comedy and backstage, and their ability to work off of each other. It was very much, Carol Burnett and whoever the other lady. Other lady was that I'm sorry I don't remember her name, but she wasn't Carol Burnett. She was the other one.
Who was it?
I'm mad. I don't know it because she went on to do Mama's Family. She was the main lady in the show Mama's Family.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, she was all. But so my point is, man, those two were great together. We'll think of her name in a second. Somebody will find it on the internet. Dom.
Vicki Lawrence.
Vicki Lawrence. Yeah, Vicki Lawrence. So it's just like that. They were great together. And look, I actually feel that way about me and Billy the same way. Like once we were apart, we were never the same. And so I feel like they got to work together forever. And I think that works. Like I was a huge fan of theirs. But Billy had a sense of humor that was an educated sense of humor, if that makes sense. She in a backstage would be talking to you and go, oh yeah, I'll say this and say, and she knew what to do to be funny, but didn't, I don't know. It was smart to me because I don't know how to differentiate the two between just trying to riff and be funny or whatever. I think she had education in comedy, it felt like to me. Like I was talking to, Betty White or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a smart comedy.
She's just really funny and really smart about it. And I thought, and even her facials in the ring, while her work wasn't good, and I said it wasn't good. I didn't say it wasn't great because that would be saying wasn't great. She wasn't good. Okay, so let's say that. But let's say her facials and the ability to work within those physical limitations, off the chart. I'm a huge fan of hers from that standpoint. And if it were up to me, she'd be like a backstage commentator, but a character backstage commentator. You know what I mean? Like Lord Alfred Hayes, except for she's not from Britain and she doesn't have a. Anyway, so I think, anyway, my point is I think she's great. And I think Peyton Royce is great too.
Mandy Rose defeats Becky Lynch in 2 minutes. You could tell the big push was on for her at this point. What was it about Mandy that the company saw right then where you go, we can get behind her?
Really? You really just asked that question?
What's that?
I mean, there's nothing about her that you see that would make the company want to
besides
invest.
She's stunningly beautiful and can wrestle, and
there's a lot of reasons right
work
there. You just named 2 really good reasons, just off the top of your head. So yeah, when that question, I did read some of the notes. And when I got to this one, I thought, really? Okay, never mind. No, but look, she can talk. She is sexy. Her wrestling's getting a lot better and has gotten a lot better. I don't condone nor do I agree with whatever she's doing, but it's not mine too. What I think of her is none of her business. To be quite honest, you know what I mean. I'm a friend of Mandy's, like as a boss coworker. Like I produced her rehearsals every week. You know what I mean. Like we worked together on a weekly basis down there for probably 3 years, and so I don't want to see my kid doing stuff like that, and that's just where I'm at. And so I dipped into that, and I didn't mean to, but that's what I want to say about that part. Now, having said that, we got behind her for all the reasons you just said. She's athletic, she's beautiful, she can talk, her wrestling's getting better. Like it's all pros and very few cons. Yeah.
Rusev would defeat Daniel Bryan in a Money in the Bank qualifier, with Bryan being back in such a big way.
Yep.
It was early for him to lose. Was there any fear of putting him in a match with ladders, or was this more a push for Rusev? You remember any talk?
I don't remember. And look, I can also argue that while we're saying this and talking about this from a creative writing standpoint, because I'm my only point of reference, and I've said that before, that I have to have a pay-per-view with some other people on it too. You know what I mean? So if it's a ladder match with 6 guys in it, say, and I don't know how many we used here, but you got to have some other matches. So some of these top-notch guys being eliminated might be for a match on the card to hold up the card. You know what I mean? Because it is just the blue brand, and it is just now going live. So we are trying to drive hard. You know what I mean?
SmackDown is in London the next week. What are the European tours like for you in that position you ran in 2018? What's different about taping overseas, if anything?
I mean, really nothing. It's a longer commute, but the taping's the same. You know what I mean? You go and you have the production meeting and you run rehearsals and you do. So it's technically the same. The diet's different, as in I don't have a diet period anyway. So I actually love it. I actually love it. Fish and chips, baked beans for breakfast. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So yeah, it's not a big change for me. If you got technical and got down to the guys who plug stuff in, they'd probably tell you they need adapters and stuff like that. But
sure, my
job was just march, get marching orders and give them out and march. You know.
Show opens with Daniel Bryan being out, and the reaction is insane. How over was Bryan on this comeback tour, man?
What's incredible? Well, I mean, of course, he's for me. Daniel is much more, especially now, much more of a hardcore wrestling fan, UK wrestling fan. The UK wrestling fans are in deep, man. They love their wrestling, and that's Daniel's the wrestling superhero. You know what I mean? And he had just come back from Holy Mackerel. He's never going to wrestle again now. Well, Holy Mackerel, he's back, and he was hugely over. But you know, it just goes back to every question you get about why do you do this, why do you do that. It's almost like we write this show like we know what we're doing. Like, look, he's going to get a huge pop. What do we do? How do we utilize that? How do we, you know what I mean? And there's thought that goes into stuff. So it's just cool to see stuff like that's what was really cool and rewarding to me, even more so than the wrestling. The writing was when you do something from bell to bell and 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night or whatever, and you watch 2 hours of it and you go, man, it only dipped in that 1 minute. You know what I mean? Where if I could feel like, okay, that was a good show for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Or, man, if we could have had a better match in that second segment, we could have carried the energy. You know, it's just, I don't know. Wrestling is totally different than writing a television show. That's for sure.
Let me know about the writing of this. Cass interrupts and gets beaten down and a heel hook, and Cass is tapping like crazy to Daniel Bryan. What is this? I mean, usually when the heel cheats and gets in, that's why he's interrupting and cheating to be more of a heel.
Yeah.
What is this for of, no, you're going to interrupt, but we're going to squash that immediately?
So to me, that's exactly why you would do it that way. You know what I mean? Like if it's done that way all the time, why would you do it that way again? Right. You know, so it's actually an argument to not do it the same way. Do it some way different. And here's another argument I'd make is if you know how over Daniel's going to be and you know how the opposite Cass is with a UK audience,
sure.
Why would you do that? Some would go, oh, that'd be real heat. No, that'd be wrong heat. And that's just change the channel heat or heat. And so, you know, you don't mess with, don't tug on Superman's cape and he's wrestling Superman and he came and spit in the wind and he got an eyeful for it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think when people go, this is the way you do it. Why'd you do it different? I think that's crazy. But I also fall into, why you do it different? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So I get the hypocrisy of it, which is why I always say, you're a human, you're a hypocrite. You know what I mean? Like you don't mean to be. And on real life issues, you're like, oh no, I've kind of always believed that. You know what I mean? But like on wrestling, come on, man. Surely you change your mind. You know what I mean? It's not peace in the Middle East we're not talking about. It's Daniel Bryan going, yes, yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's weigh our options here, guys.
The New Day and the Bar continue their feud, and the New Day wins a tag match to have one of them going into the Money in the Bank match. When you look back on it now, why do you think it took so long for the New Day to get involved in main event storylines?
So I heard a line in a movie that I went and saw with my granddaughter the other day. It was actually in the trailer of another movie for the movie. And the lady said, well, why did this have to happen? And the other person said, because people are stupid. And so you ask me why it took so long for them to catch on? Because people are stupid. And I don't even know if I'm kidding. You know what I mean? Because I'm people, so I'm stupid, so I'm not calling you something I ain't. I'm just saying, for me, individually, and this is, again, opinion. I loved, and they will attest to it because I went with it and produced the vignettes, when they were the positive gospel band behind them and doing the whole video deal. I loved that. And I told them on the way to that, this is going to be awesome. And the people hated it. Then they really didn't change anything. Nothing changed, really. They just started, I don't even know what changed, to tell you the truth. They just started, I don't know, they just caught on then. It caught on. I think it just took time. And look, I think somebody who's smarter than me and dissects that stuff will probably tell me, no, they started doing this and that. And that's cool if they did, but somebody let them. So what I'm saying is, I thought they were great from the get-go. I thought they were a success from the get-go. And it took a while for them to catch on because everybody didn't. So I guess I'm saying y'all are stupid and I ain't. I'm just going to cut to it. Cut the chase.
One of my faves, Andrade, debuts on SmackDown on this episode. What was your thoughts for him back in? We've touched on him before in previous episodes about maybe the not speaking a good English. Who knows?
Yeah, could
maybe
be.
that was.
Could be. Look, and that also could be yesterday's news, and you and I are perpetuating it. And that, I'm 100% okay with that if that's the answer. I just want us to be conscious of it, because I think our business strategy thinks, dare I say, we're a global company. Yeah. You know what I mean? There ain't no two ways about it. This company is not a domestic company, and it is a quickly expanding globally. And so I actually think the fact that he can't speak English is not as big a deal. You know what I'm saying? It's not like maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe it doesn't, and maybe my dumb redneck butt don't know the difference. But I'm trying to catch up. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying maybe we're looking at it wrong, and maybe that's not how the world looks at it. Maybe that's how my dumb ass looks at it.
Well, when you look back and think about where you were in 2018 and when he's making his debut, what did you think his ceiling was?
I did
whatever it wanted to be.
Yeah, honestly, yes, because I knew he could go, and I knew immediately I wanted him and Ray in the ring because I knew they were ratings, and I knew they were eye openers for people just like me who watched when Ray and all those people came into WCW. Eddie and Dean Malenko, dare I say Dean Malenko, and the cruiserweights came onto the scene in the wrestling world in a way that outshined the heavyweights, you know what I mean? And so it was, to me, I wanted Ray and Andrade to give people that were the layperson a dose of lucha libre, you know what I mean, and what these guys can do. And so I know we don't do lucha libre rules and all that, but like I remember we had several matches with those two, and it was strictly because I knew I wanted to watch them. And story to me sometimes be damned. You know what I mean? Like we got to the story of I've said this before, but of Shawn Spears and Shinsuke Nakamura. Just because Shinsuke Nakamura said, "I'm going to beat you in the last man standing." I don't know why I'm Spanish speaking all of a sudden. He said, "I'm going to beat you in a last man standing match, and then I'm going to count to 10." And he said that on TV, and then on Twitter, Shawn Spears said, "Did somebody say 10?" I know that's not funny to anybody except me and Johnny Russo, but a match happened like that on SmackDown, and incredible. A good match, and it was a good leader into the pay-per-view for Shinsuke. Anyway, I love wrestling. I love the fun of it, though. Man, if you take yourself or it too seriously, you kind of piss me off.
By the way, Dogg, as we continue, we want to give a shout out. Our next partner here, I know you didn't know.
Who is it?
AG1,
Dog.
Daily
AG1,
Foundational Nutrition
AG1.
Supplement that supports whole
AG1,
body
AG1.
health.
It's convenient and it is fun. You're going to get the job done in just one. Say one scoop, y'all, of AG1. And we're going to do it now. Read the read, run.
AG1, one scoop and you're done.
Oh!
Look, the beauty of AG1, as soon as it came to my house, I thought, okay, here we go. We got to take some supplements. We're trying to get in shape.
Right.
We're trying to get the gut health.
Is what I said. Thank you for the gift, but boo, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
tell me
what else do I got to take? It's going to taste awful. Here's the best part. You drink that AG1 in the morning before you start your day, and you are ready to go. And like we said, one scoop.
Hey, a lot of people go into Smoothie King, and I will say it because I'm guilty as well. And get these things added in a smoothie and pay $17 or something for a smoothie. And it's also so many calories. This has the probiotics, everything for your gut health. And we talk a lot about that on here because we represent the gut kings of America. And it's like the Shriners. We basically just ride on little mopeds and look fat overhanging the sides. But AG1 is the trick, man. And like I said in my impromptu rap earlier, convenience is the deal. It's one scoop and you're done. And it's everything you needed to take that day Done. And didn't add a handful of pills. It didn't add anything I have to. It tastes. I'm gonna say tropical. I add a little. Now this is a new trick I'm doing. It's Sunny D. Might not be what everybody's cup of tea is, and they may go like, oh, don't add those calories, Bryan. But look, I'm fat, but I want my gut to be healthy. That's literally 100% why I'm doing it. I want gut health. Gut health is right up there with mind health.
Build your health foundation first, and that's it. If your gut's not working right, it's ruining your whole day. Everything else doesn't matter what it's like. That's why AG1 helps you build that health foundation first. Plus, all the great athletes have one thing in common. If you can look at us, great athletes.
Great athletes, right?
They take care of their body. Okay?
I mean, don't look at us. Don't.
No. But here's the
deal.
Can
help it. Don't look at us.
If you're trying to get in shape and you're trying to make those changes, it can be overwhelming, Dog. But these small habits lead to big benefits, and that's where AG1 comes in.
That's where all the muscle heads call gains.
Gains,
but it's not
baby.
So much muscle gains; it's healthy gains, big dog.
And like
inside out.
Like you mentioned, those smoothies expensive.
Yeah.
It costs less than $3 a day. That's a pretty good deal, if you ask me.
Yeah.
To change your life from the inside.
Well, go to GNC and then price everything that's in there and tell me how much that costs.
Come out walking like this. You got your checkbooks empty, and you're doing this with all the vitamins and supplements and all that. Or you can get AG1 for less than $3 a day. It's a comprehensive solution. It's what you need for your supplemental routine. Then you should try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D. Let me tell you something. That's not just a throw-in. If you want to Google, do your own research on what vitamin D does for the body. It's a game changer. They're going to give you.
It also would have been a game changer if everybody knew it 3 years ago.
Yeah, vitamin D and Sunny D. That's what you're taking every single day.
That's what I'm doing anyway.
5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/DOGG. That's drinkag1.com/dog.
DOGG.
Check it out now. Get that 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs and start changing your life from the inside out. And thank you, AG1, for sponsoring Oh You Didn't Know.
Because it inside of you really is more important than the outside. I mean, and that's just a fact.
Look at us.
I broke a sweat just plugging AG1. Woo! I obviously could use a little exercise. No, it's hot down here in Florida. I did get excited about it though because look,
you like gut health. Here's what
I like the fact of the inside out thing. You know what I mean? Like that's and it all, I just read all about gut health. I don't do anything about it except drink the AG1, but I'm hoping that is a step in the right direction.
A huge step. As we continue the timeline, Becky Lynch wins a 3-way over Rose and DeVille to get into Money in the Bank. There's been a lot of criticism sometimes over the years of 50-50 booking that WWE does.
Yeah.
The week before, Mandy wins, and this week, Becky wins. Give us, from your perspective, to explain it to us a little bit more as the stupid fans, what do you think about WWE and the 50-50 booking?
A short answer is yeah. I know I did it when I was a writer, and it serves a purpose. Though it's hated and though it's weak booking and all these people, there's very few people that can tell me that I'll listen to. You know what I'm saying? Very few of them have been in the shoes of writing 52 weeks a year and 12 PLEs in between those. And you know what I mean? So very few people have had that honor/burden. So I'll only listen to some of y'all tell me that's not hard and 50-50 is not necessary. But it's, I wouldn't say it's necessary, but I would say if you want to keep every character in a position to where they're, you know what I mean, promotable. Like, look, it also goes into my bigger philosophy of, and this is going to break the internet, of wins and losses don't matter. It's about episodic television, and that's how I look at it now. And you can look at it any other way you want to, but from an episodic television show, which is where we all know that's where the money comes from now. So it's all about that. That's what rules the day. You got to keep the characters like Becky Lynch doing well. You know what I mean? But you also got to use a character like Becky Lynch every now and then to make a newcomer look well, or you know, whatever. There might be an instance where I need Becky's and exactly what she is, a star. I need her star power to give said NXT upcoming star the carrot and the clout that he or she deserves when coming in. Oh my God, they beat Becky Lynch. Like, it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's a philosophy and it's a philosophical disagreement, if you agree or disagree. 50-50 booking becomes 25% necessary when you're working every week. And that, look, you can argue it. It's just my opinion. And I only did it for like 4 years. Like, I didn't do it as long as a lot of people have done it, so they may have a better grasp. But in my time, that's my opinion. You know what I mean? I had to keep characters hot for television, but utilize those same characters. And if you'll realize, this was too when I don't know, SmackDown, I don't know, it had been good for a minute, I feel like, and I feel like it's continuing to be good right now with the talent that is suggested for this Money in the Bank, and I don't know, I thought I had a good run.
Well, this will speak to the good run. First, before we get to the big news that's about to be shared with you, Nakamura and Styles face off again to build to their now third straight title match at Money in the Bank. Nakamura gets the win to choose the stipulation for their match, so we will get into that a little bit later. And then it's announced the next week that the WWE has signed a mega television deal, Dog. Raw remains on the USA Network, and SmackDown is moving to Fox. Tell me about this time period. What were you hearing? When did you hear about it? Were you excited? Was it more pressure? What was going on?
All of the above. You know what I mean? And I think so many things can be true at the same time. Like you sang it earlier, but the heat is on, you know what I mean? But I was confident in my talent and my team and my time. You know what I mean? I felt like all of those three T stars were aligned. And so I was excited about it, but at the same time, I was getting burnout as the lead writer and as being on the show is your life 24/7, and the job is your life 24/7. And what I didn't realize, and I've come to realize it lately in some of those late edition epiphanies I talked about earlier, that even though I've been sober 12 years, so over 12 years, I haven't lived with my wife full time in like 24, you know what I mean? So just the last couple and being in NXT even, I was gone for most of the week. And so now the job I have now, I can find total balance. And now I'm learning to be a husband and learning to be a friend and learning to be a partner and you know what I mean? And but still also at 54, very basic learning. You know what I mean? I'm going back to boot camp. Like, okay, we both like each other. Let's start there. You know what I mean? Now what can I do to try to not make you cry today? And that sounds like a big deal, but in that song that that's actually doing really well right now. I'm wearing Tennessee Orange for You is a country song. And she said, I know it's a sin in Georgia, but I'm wearing Tennessee Orange for him. And the chorus of it is, he's got blue eyes. He ain't something, but he don't make me cry. And I thought, like, that's such a crazy line, but like, it's kind of, every boy could kind of be slapped in the face and then said, don't make them cry.
You'll get a long way.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Don't make them cry. Find out what makes them cry. Don't do that. You know what I mean? And that's a huge life lesson. Now that I have daughters and a wife with a husband that's trying to be one, Like, oh, I see what they've been talking about for all those years.
Talking about the big deal with Fox.
Dominic just pulled up the whole chorus. I
He's
met
well-
someone,
Oh.
and he's got blue eyes. He opens the door, and he don't make me cry. He ain't from where we're from, but he feels like home. That's a good line right there. Yeah, he's got me doing things I've never done. And you go like, holy mackerel, girl, what you about to tell your mama? You know what I mean? And she goes, I'm wearing Tennessee orange for him. And my color's always been red, blah, blah, blah. I'm from Georgia, but I've been to the field and wore his hat and the whole, you know, and it's a great song anyway. That's why it's doing well. It's a good, simple song that, anyway, I'll shut up now and you can talk more about your boring wrestling match. Go ahead.
Shout out to Megan Maroney for that song, by the way.
Who is it?
Megan Maroney.
Yeah, she's a star.
Lana returns as a wrestler and wins a Money in the Bank qualifier over Billie Kay.
What?
Lana back in the ring. How about
Well,
that, dog?
And we felt confident with her, and she could do. Lana was really good in the ring at like doing kicks. Like sometimes she'd kick your head off, but they always looked really good because I think I don't know, and I'm talking out of school here, but I think she had training in that because she always looks like she could kick straight up a wall. You know what I mean? Like it. So we utilized that, and we knew Lana was better than Billie Kay, and they could have a match if we got them together and put it together. I don't know how long it lasted, but that would also come into play. I can assure you we didn't go through a commercial break in it. And if we did, it wasn't picture in picture. So anyway, no, that's criticizing them jokingly, but match totally makes sense to me, even sitting here right now, half a decade later. And it qualified Lana, so.
Anderson and Gallows would beat the Usos to make themselves the #1 contenders for Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Gallows has had many chances in the WWE and many different gimmicks.
Yeah.
Was it different this time around with Anderson? What were your thoughts about them at this time?
Well, yeah, look, I think it was different just because of the landscape and I think of who they have become. He has had many opportunities, but he never got one that he could sink his teeth into. And the ones he did get there was a very low ceiling on, you know what I mean? If you really look back to what your uncle always called you, like Festus, you know, if you look back to I shared that with you in confidentiality. You son of but like that's, you know, so there was a ceiling on that. Look, I think he did what we've seen Drew McIntyre. What he did, what Jinder Mahal has done. They went away. They made themselves different people, not only physically and mentally and spiritually, but in the industry's eyes. And they came back with some stripes. You know what I mean? They've done some time in service and done some time where they okay, you know what I mean? You've been around, and their team has been around in wrestling for a minute now, and especially international wrestling. And I think a lot of domestic fans only, you know, or my God, silence your phone, Bryan.
I was going to blame it on Dom. Just blame it on Dom. Always blame it on Dom.
Okay, sorry. It was my wife, and she just said, hey. That can't be good. I'll fill you in on what comes next.
Well, look, as we talk about Anderson and Gallows.
Let me go back, please. Gallows, they can suck it right now. My wife said, hey. I said, hey. She said, hey.
It's like you're getting a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah,
an updated
that's what we
Monty
did. Sometimes I just love her. You know what I mean?
Don't make her cry. Don't make her cry now.
So me and her have, truth be told, and I do think this is better than the Gallows and Anderson story. But we do have one to tell, and this is only for two people that we'll talk about one day when we get behind the rock. So anyway, there's a great story there that's for After Dark. Yeah, it came. So that was my computer. And look, I do not know how to turn it down and me not down. So we're just going to have to do with the dinging. We're just going ding over here for a minute. Gallows and Anderson.
Ding, ding.
Great guys. And look, I feel like they went away and came back bigger than they ever were. And so that's how I feel about them now. So I don't know if it's Anderson being with him or if it's the common ground that they gained together. If you envision this being a war and they're trying to capture the high ground to take the titles, and they've gained that much to top of the hill, you don't fall that far back down. They're still on the precipice. There's a lot of war talk going on here. I want you guys to just buckle down.
It's intense right now.
Buckle down and walk with me. I'm going to give this. We all go down, okay? I texted my daughter the other day and I said, hey, let's just do lunch or something this week. And she goes, why am I in trouble? She's 25. And I said, no, I just need to have a meeting with my fire team leaders. And she was like, I don't know what any of that means. LOL. Am I in trouble?
Am I in trouble? If my mom said, let's get lunch tomorrow, I'd be the same way now.
Yeah. Well,
what's going on? Tell me what's going on. That's what I would say.
I don't know. It's another epiphany, and I just want to have conversations while they're fresh on my heart.
By the way, Anderson
I love
and
pizza
Gallows.
rolls. Oh, Anderson and Gallows love pizza rolls,
Fun dudes to be around.
Yeah, fun, great guys to be around. Great guys to have on the card. From a creative live event writer, love pulling that card. Also love it being a 6-man with Age Styles thrown in there. Also love it being an 8 mixed person we throw Mi Chin in there. Come on. But yeah, so they're the creative gift that keeps on giving. You're about to hear another ding. I'm sorry.
There's a change in the plans as Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy face off with each other, and the winner will take on Samoa Joe for a Money in the Bank qualifier match. Bryan wins to advance.
Yeah.
It's rumored that that's a change. Do you remember it being a change, or was that the plan all along? What do you remember of that?
So no, because I don't remember it being a change. But that's 100% possible. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things are possible. However, even when I heard it, I started thinking of, I'd love to have Bryan v somebody outside of that ladder match. So, I mean, I understand why those decisions are made. And then 2 weeks later you go, man, we got to put Bryan in that match. You know what I mean? I can understand all of that transpiring, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And I want to back up a little bit, too. We talk about 50-50 booking and stuff like that, like it's the end of the world. But it's, if it's the devil on that roller coaster, sometimes you cuddle up with that
Well, look. It's all there for a deck of cards, and having a full deck of cards, you got to have a bunch of different ones. Just because you know the Jack of Spades is in there doesn't mean the Jack of Spades shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's 52 cards, 52 weeks. You got to have them all.
And things change, not only just because somebody changed their mind, including me, but so and so got injured. So and so can't be in it now because of such and such that we're not even going to tell the public. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like there's just so many intricacies that the guy on Twitter who's never been the lead writer of one of the shows, I ain't got time to listen to you.
Well, let's listen to what your friend Meltzer says. Next week, SmackDown is from Raleigh, and he has this in his write-up. And an interesting note, one of Vince McMahon's doctrines was, I guess, feeling Raleigh doesn't sound major league enough. The announcers were instructed to never use the term Raleigh and instead say North Carolina State since they were using the college arena.
NC State University. Let me ask you, go ahead and finish the question. I was
just going to say,
have
you ever heard that? Do you remember that? Was that a real issue?
Yes. It's not an issue. It's not an issue, but to Meltzer. Like, what's the issue? Like, what's the issue? I think NC State sounds cooler than Raleigh, North Carolina, too. Yeah. Like, I just think that happened a lot. You know what I mean? Like, we're in Des Moines, Iowa. Well, what if we said we're from the Impact Cellular Center in the such and such? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think it's a selling point. I think it's verbiage matters. I think it's a non-issue, period, except for Les Meltzer of the world. You know what I mean? Except for the critics. And there's more than Meltzer. I don't want to slight anybody that hates us equally. And I say us because, look, I'm on the team. I'm never going to not be on the team. I was on the team even when I wasn't employed by the team. You know what I mean? Like I'm a team member, and
You want to be back on the team. Yeah.
I'm happy to be back, and I will sell this company's wares because they saved my life, and everything good I've ever had financially has come from them. And they've also helped me go through rehabs and aftercares and such that have helped me now find balance in my brain too. Like, holy mackerel, they saved my life and taught me how to live. I'll sing their praises
all the time.
Yeah.
Cass is added to the match with Joe and Bryan, and Joe gets the win when he chokes out Bryan. Also on the timeline, Asuka is lined up as Carmella's challenger at Money in the Bank. We talked about that. You can check back in the other archives about Asuka's streak ending at WrestleMania and whether you regret that or not as a creative standpoint.
No. See that's the kind of
Look
stuff.
Look at her now.
Like
Didn't hurt her.
I mean, that's the thing, man. What today to ask that question today is ridiculous, if you ask me.
Sure.
It's baseless. Let's use that. That gets thrown around a lot. It's baseless commentary, but yet it's thrown out as fact and negative. You know what I mean? Like it's oh my God. No, it was to me, it's just like the Undertaker streak, except I'd argue differently about that streak. Asuka's just getting started on the main roster. This is Vince's mindset, and I honestly love it, and it excites me because it's the part of my mind that doesn't work like this. So I always, my wife said, "Okay, sorry, love you." That's just where we're at right now. I love it. We're just clicking on all cylinders in our relationship, and I want you to know about it. Shut up and listen. But look, this is back to Vinceisms. Look, that's why he would do it the other way, all the way back to Daniel Bryan just shutting down Big Cass as he slid in the ring. Why would you do it? Because nobody else would. Everybody else would do it the other way.
Sure.
And we're not building a goddamn combustible engine here. There's not one way to do it. It's not a science. We are the masters of our own destiny, another Vinceism, and we create whatever we want. We make our own rules. Now, we have bent those on occasion, and I disagree with that too. I think a lot of people do. But it's also like you said, don't say Raleigh, North Carolina. Holy mackerel, that to me, I would never think of that. So when I hear that, you go like, oh, why wouldn't they call it Raleigh? Like, I don't know, say NC State. Here, the Wolf Pack, the Wolf, the House of the whatever. You know what I mean? Like of course, I'm saying it differently too when I'm pitching it to you. But that's honestly how it's more exciting. It's verbally more exciting. And if you can clean up the verbiage, which I believe matters, that's a business strategy, man. And I think that's a lot of the things he does that people go, God, why would you do that? Or because he can. And why shouldn't you? Why everybody goes, oh, you should question everything. But oh God, don't ask why they didn't say Raleigh. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Next up, Lynch beat Charlotte, and the storyline was that these two, of course, were best friends doing a friendly match. They even hugged when it was over. Talk about the mutual competition between the two at this time.
Well, I think you said it best, and this is a little inside baseball, and just as far as I'm going to go, but mutual competition indeed. It was competition, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I loved about it. If I wrestled my brother, if I wrestled Jeff, if I wrestled Billy, if I wrestled Truth, we would probably be stiffer than everybody. It would just be tighter and snugger and faster, and because we would just be bringing it because we love the other brother, and we want to impress said brother. You know what I mean? And so we're bringing it, and they're bringing it, and it feels good. It got that way, and I think it went a hair over that. And I think it was because of man, these are two superstars who are really on the cusp of something special. And they're on the same brand, and they've been best friends, and they're going through it together. And in this industry, if you're going for the same spot with your best friend, I don't know anything that good that comes out of that. Having said that, it was a time and place where it was very competitive between these two. I used that to get these matches and this kind of energy out of them because I believe both of them. I said this earlier about Asuka, about her being like the most well-rounded. These two are in my top 3 competition. You know what I mean? My top 5 competition of the ones that can go out there and do it, and can go out there and do it in a promo segment too, and can go out there and do it with their gear, and they go out there and do it with their work, and they're a total package. Sorry, Lex Luger, I use that a lot. But so to me, it was a friendly rivalry that crossed the line sometimes into scratching and clawing to get that spot. And there's a healthy look. Shawn and Brett did it too. You know what I mean? And after they got older and wiser, they realized that was heat of the moment. Right. You sang it best earlier when you said heat of the moment. It's good TV, bro, is what it is.
Yes.
And these characters are both going to be superstars. And so when you shoot 2 rockets off at the same time, they might bump into each other. I don't know that for sure.
The Go Home SmackDown starts with all the SmackDown women in the ring for the Money in the Bank match.
Oh, are there ladders in the ring?
In the promo, Lana has no accent. Give me the thought behind this.
Probably at this time, we were probably trying to transition away from it. I don't know. I really don't know either. But I always thought, like, why does she have it? Why does she have it? Not why doesn't she have it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I always looked at, like, she's a beautiful, tan, long-legged woman that's attractive as all get out, who manages this monster, who's Rusev, but she could totally be from Antioch, Tennessee. You know what I mean? She lived 3 doors down from Jelly Roll.
That was the interesting part to me. She sold the accent at first, and when you first heard it, you went, "Wait, that's not her accent."
Yeah, but then what? So my question is to the questioner is, if you're gonna go, like, do you bring it? And then it's just a philosophical question. Do you do a backstage skit where she steps out of it and then you catch her, and then she says, and then, or do you just go away from it? You know what I mean? Like, and I think a lot of people, if you're reading a book, we'd have done it the other way. We're doing a television show with 6 different stories, and so we got to get in what we can fit in. And I don't know, that these are all things I'm making up because I don't remember 5 o'clock this morning, let alone 5 years ago.
In a non-title match, Jeff Hardy beat Nakamura via DQ.
If you're watching this to get actual wrestling facts,
y'all know this is not it.
Guys,
if you'd like a pizza roll recipe, you have come to the right place.
Bam.
Put them in the air fryer, take them out, melt a little butter in the microwave.
Oh, yeah.
And mix in some Italian seasoning in that melted butter. Then put the air fried pizza rolls in there.
Yeah.
Shake it up, mix it up, and almost like it marinates. How about that?
Ooh, shake it up.
Shake it up.
Hot down, summer in the city, shaking pizza rolls, make me need a mac gritty. Sorry. I don't have any idea what just happened.
We're going back to Hardy beating Nakamura. Nakamura ended it with hit the
Kinshasa.
Yes, and counted to 10 with the idea Hardy couldn't get up from the combination.
Nakamura. Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura.
At this time, Nakamura is one of the best heels in 2018 at this time.
Who is?
What made him Nakamura?
Oh, yeah.
What made him so good? Is he another one that's got it?
Yeah. In all honesty, he's sarcastic even in Japanese. You know what I mean? Like and that's the American in him, bless his heart. You know what I mean? We've tainted his honorable soul and persona. But no, we have. He's Americanized into, he gets sarcasm. You know what I mean? He gets ribbon on the square. He gets all that. And like, I don't know, man, some of that stuff with backstage with Renee Paquet, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Speaking of pizza rolls and baguettes, no. Well, but Renee, where he just was, I know speak English. You know what I mean? Like he's just it's just a heel, and he did it in a way that's not condescending, and it's not, I don't know. We got, of course, condescending and wrong later on, I felt like, but we weren't there yet. He was a good heel at this point.
Before we get into the fights of Money in the Bank 2018, let's tell you about our friends over at Fight Plus, Dog.
Fight Plus.
Fight Plus, the ultimate digital platform for live sports and entertainment, and they are now offering a free 7-day trial at tryfight.com. Fight Plus is packed with premium live events scheduled over 1,000 hours of live action every year in a library of over 4,000 hours on demand,
4,000
plus exclusive
hours.
Content. Boy, you people that binge watch TV, try catching up on 4,000 hours.
Binge watch and fighting,
Not happening.
binge watch. I just bleeped myself. That's talent right there. I was in key, beat myself. Anyway, go on about Fight Plus because they're better than I am. That's for sure.
But I was going to say, Fight's a great partners of ours. They support us.
They are.
So let's support them. Give that free 7-day trial a try, and you'll be a member for life. That's tryfight.com. TRYFITE.com.
Tryfight.com. Fight Plus. It's
All
the
right.
mother fighting bomb. Say Fight Plus.
You did. In key.
Tryfight.com. Say Fight Plus. Mother. Tryfight.com, over 4,000 hours of fighting. If you want to see repetitive punches to a man's face, tune in to Fight Plus and watch my matches.
7-day free trial. Yeah.
No, I cussed that time, so cut that one out, actually.
Tryfight.com.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the pay-per-view. It's from Chicago. It's from June 17th. It's well received critically by the Wrestling Observer readers. 60% voted a thumbs up. Money in the Bank drew a sellout crowd of 11,800 fans. StubHub's secondary market sales were $3,025 with a $160 average.
Wow.
80% of ticket sales coming from the home market area, as we would call it, North Carolina State.
So,
All right.
so let's talk about
Strong crowd.
Strong crowd in Raleigh, North Carolina. Like, yeah, it's a good crowd, but it wasn't 1987 and Flair
No, this
wasn't on
is from
top.
Chicago.
Oh, my bad.
I was making the North Carolina State.
My bad. Chicago. We should have known it was gonna be
Always a
sold
wrestling
out.
hotbed.
Always
What is it
hot.
about Chicago?
Man, I love Chicago. I tell you what, to me, it's that building. That I don't even know what it's called anymore. The All-State Arena, the American Airlines.
A lot of names.
It's got a bunch of names, but it's the one that when you stand in the ring and you hear, I am Iron Man, before we went publicly traded, and then the Road Warriors come out. That's the building I'm talking about. It's a long name, but it's that building, man. And Chicago is a faithful middle class, and I know it's a lot of upper class now. They've brought a lot in, but I could argue that a lot of real Chicago would ask you to leave. But it is. It's centered around a bunch of, locally you can get
Easy travel.
Yeah, you can get from and then what am I trying to think of? Wisconsin. You know what I mean? Wisconsin. Yeah, you can get there lickety split. It's all over the place. The Rosemont Horizon. It used to be called the Rosemont Horizon. Now it's called the Arena. But no, I don't know. But yeah,
Well,
look, it's that building, man. It's special, and it's hollowed ground a little bit,
All-State Arena now.
All-State.
80% of ticket sales coming from home market. That speaks to Chicago, like you said. Also, for any of the out-of-towners, almost anybody watching this, there's probably a nonstop flight to Chicago from wherever your airport is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of traveling to Chicago.
Yeah, just stay outside the city.
Let's stay in Schaumburg.
Unless you're
a little
from
bit.
Iraq. Or I'm sorry, but like a war-torn country because
Yes.
it's very
If you
similar.
just like chaos, go ahead and travel.
Chirac, I think.
Let's get into the matches. Number 1 on the list. And Luke Harper and Eric Rowan retained the SmackDown tag titles, beating Gallows and Anderson in 7 minutes and 35 seconds. Gallows and Anderson set up the magic killer on Harper, but Rowan broke it up. Harper and Rowan then did the double team power bomb on Gallows to win. 2 stars from the Observer. Dog,
Dang,
at
that
this
match
point,
was better than any match I ever had.
feature 1 3/4 every
They
time.
know how to hit a man. I tell you what.
Any thought on taking the titles off Harper and Roman at this point and move them to Gallows and Carl, or was their Bludgeon Brothers still too good at this point?
For me, in my mind, and look, I own, again, my mind's the only place I got to go to. But we were learning right now, these guys can't be beat. Like, these big guys, we booked ourselves into a corner here. We should have, I think the story with them should have been, and could have survived for a little longer, tag team dominance, and the titles ain't what it's about. You know what I mean? It's about staking their claim. I don't know. We would have had to get outside the box and try something different, because you only have so many tag teams to utilize, and they're going to kill every one of them. You know what I mean? And so we were learning now, like, we got to get the titles off these guys somehow.
Sure.
So anyway, that's just my crazy ideas, wrestling ideas.
Second up, Daniel Bryan beat Big Cass in 15 minutes and 17 seconds. Crowd was very much into the match. Bryan is always very good, says the Observer. There were lots of yes chants. Bryan escaped the torture rack and won with a running knee and heel hook submission.
Yeah.
This is from the Observer. This was a pretty clear blow off to the program. 2 3/4 stars. Dog, was it a blow off?
Well, I mean, it was. Yeah, I think so. And I've said it before on there, and it's not my place. But Big Cass has made a lot of internal. Again, we talked about AG1 starting from the inside out, and that's a very important place to start. Big Cass has made a lot of internal progression in his life. Right then, in this instant, he was going through some things. And so it was a time where we go, okay, let's get Daniel away from him, and we'll figure out what to do with him. Daniel's going to go and land on pillows no matter where he falls. You know what I mean? So it was just, look, we were going through some things. You know what I mean? As a team. And so the team has to think about what's best for the team. And sometimes the team has to make a decision that's best for an individual on the team. And that's where we were at, you know?
Next up, Bobby Lashley pinned Sami Zayn 6 minutes, 34 seconds. The Observer says, this served no purpose. If Zayn wasn't able to wrestle a long match due to injuries, they should have just had Lashley win in 90 seconds. Lashley sold a little early, came back, and 3 delayed vertical suplexes got the pin. The ending was flat, as nobody bought it as the finish. 1 1/4 star. Boy, that's lower than a Road Dogg match.
That's them hating because Sammy ain't holding the title and winning the title. You know what I mean? You ask him now how he feels about Sammy, and you go like, oh, God, I wish he hadn't have done that with Lashley. Nobody bought it. Really? Well, he's the best thing in wrestling.
Well, one of the best things about this particular storyline was their infamous promos. Zayn and Lashley, they're doing promos about Bobby's family.
Yeah.
That at least was fun and memorable from this storyline.
So I thought it was entertaining. It was an attempt at being entertaining.
Sure.
I'll say that. I wasn't fully into it, so that might have been why I didn't bite as much. But that's all you can do is go, look, every story can't be the same, and it all can't be about kicking everybody's butt. And what do you do with a big Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn? Sammy can't just go, well, I'm going to put my dukes up, and any man with 2 hands has a fighting chance. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. So anyway, it's just philosophical.
Philosophical.
That's falafel, but with a philosophical twist on it. You know what I mean?
You didn't eat before the episode, did you?
I'm starving.
Talk about falafel, pizza roll, baguettes. Seth Rollins retained the IC title over Elias in 16 minutes and 59 seconds. Elias came out for his concert and got a big reaction. He was cheered like crazy, then said, "Chicago's filled with scumbags who want attention." So the fans started chanting, "We are scumbags." 3.5 stars here from the Observer. Elias has always been up and down at the time. Rollins is one of the best in the world at this point and still is today.
Well, look, I think you say that about Elias. I actually think his work is underrated. I think he can do anything these everybody else is doing. I don't know about, double flips off the top rope, but not everybody's doing that. But I think he can do anything these guys can do, and he can keep up the pace. So I just think he needs an opportunity. I like Elias. I think there's a lot of mileage still to go with him.
Good or bad? He gets a reaction.
Yeah, and look, I actually think there's a leg left to stand on with him.
Next up, Alexa Bliss won the women's Money in the Bank ladder match over Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Flair, Natalya. Charlotte and Flair. I said that like it was two different people. Ric Flair made an appearance. No.
Yeah, all of them.
Charlotte, Natalya, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Lana, and Ember Moon, 18 minutes and 24 seconds. This was laid out and practiced all weekend. It was a hell of a match, says the Observer. Banks took some nasty bumps. Moon and Naomi did great athletic moves. Moon did a crossbody off the top on the Banks, who landed on a ladder. Naomi gave Moon a monkey flip, and she landed on her feet and hip tossed Naomi into the ladder. Lana got a big reaction, putting Bliss in the accolade. Natalya was booed when it appeared she was going to win. Banks got booed at one point as well. Lynch hit an exploder on Charlotte and started climbing. Lynch was up there for a long time trying to not unhook the briefcase since Bliss was late on the save. Bliss tipped over the ladder and Lynch landed face first on the ladder. Bliss climbed up to win. Even though she's a heel, the crowd cheered her winning huge. 4 stars for this match.
That's Chicago in both of the last instances. They're clever. They're independent. Elias turned on them, and they turned it back on him by chanting, "We are scumbags." Then they cheer for the heel because they're Bliss fans. You know what I mean? So they stand by what they believe in. I'll tell you that much. And it doesn't matter if it goes with your creative or not. And so you got to know that and love that about Chicago.
You've put this together. There's a lot of moving parts to this. There's ladders involved, of course. We've got to time the saves up right. How nervous were you backstage watching this when you see this is a big match with a lot of things that could possibly go wrong?
Man, did you ever see the ladder match with Joey Mercury where the ladder got shot up into his face and it opened his face up and broke his nose and broke, like, that can happen every time there's ladders in there. Like those ladders, the corners of them, if you were laying down and that thing tipped over and the corner hit you, it would put your eye out and crush your ocular cavity. You know what I mean? Like, so people ask, like, "Oh, what are you?" I'm scared crapless. And I mean it, because look, I'm writing for my show, but these are my girls and guys too, and I felt that way for half a decade while I wrote it. Like they're my guys and gals, my team, and so you're scared to death when they go out there, and especially well, I know they went through this. That bring me back to a question I want to ask you and the fans when I'm done with this rant, but. They've gone through it, and safety was brought up by people, but you don't know that the individual gives a crap. Like you go like, "Hey, so that's probably going to hurt you. We should at least do this or do that." And oh God, this is even worse. I'm sorry.
Here's the question: who's calling?
This is my daughter. FaceTime, and you know what's funny? Right before I started taping this computer asked me, "Do you want to add this phone number for FaceTime and message?" And I said, "Yeah," because it was my phone number. And now I get why I didn't have it added. We'll figure that out when my daughter can come back. What were we talking about?
You're talking about how nervous you were with the ladder match.
Yes, scared to death, man. Scared to death.
And then you said you had a question for us.
Oh, so backtracking a little bit, the Observer said This was gone over all weekend.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a blanket statement. Like, but do the fans want to know that? Or
I've never thought about it.
Is this the observer force-feeding them above the pay grade information to make themselves seem superior and all-knowing?
I would lean towards that. I don't see the purpose of putting it in myself. I don't.
It's and look, I get it. It's self promotion, like whatever.
It was like we got to spy in on it and got to see it.
Hey, this was rehearsed all weekend. Did that make it any less dangerous when somebody gets pushed off the top of a ladder down through another ladder and I just don't. That's the kind of stuff. And again, I said I'm guilty as charged when I get challenged. Yeah. Anyway,
self-aggrandizing is the word.
Self-aggrandizing. That's what it is. But it is self-promotion in a way too, because I get it. You say, hey, you're only going to get this kind of information here. Give me your $9.99.
Nick, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. Next up, the storyline, and not because of the Observer, but because of what actually happened.
Yep.
The next match is Roman Reigns and Jinder, 15 minutes, putting on a hell of a match. But the story afterwards was, in the middle of it, the crowd was super loud with chants that had nothing to do with the match. In most cases, they broke out in a Rusev Day, a This Is Awful, a CM Punk, a Johnny Wrestling, a Y2J, a LOD chant, and more. Meanwhile, these two guys are laying it on the line for 15 minutes as Reigns speared Mahal for the pin, 2.5 stars. What's it like backstage when you go, what's the crowd doing all of a sudden? Because you've already hit on, they're smart, they're feeding into it.
Here's me being a hypocrite again, and I'm okay with that. I want everybody else to come to that realization also, that you are as well. But they are very much in control, and they know it, and they're going to stand by what they believe in. And like I said, you got to know that, but in this instance, there's no way to write around it. There's no way to go around it. This is what you're getting, and you're not going to like it. Mm-hmm. And they go into business for themselves. Having said that, on a real personal level, on a real guttural, visceral level, it makes me mad to no end because of how you framed the statement in question was, while these two guys are in there laying it all on the line, and they're working hard, and they're sweating, and they're grinding, and they're doing their thing, and you, some of who have never done anything like this, taking a piss on them. You know what I mean? And so, and look, like I said before, two things can be true at the same time. They can be prideful people. They can be proud people. They can, those are both the same thing, by the way. They can be smart and clever people. They can be strong-willed, independent, but they can also be a-holes on a real personal level. You know what I mean? And that's me too. That's you too. That's, you know what I mean? Like, I am with my buddies, and I don't give a crap about your feelings. Ha, 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 ha. You suck. It's a mob mentality, and it's not right. It's not good, but it's real. You know what I mean? So, you know, how you gonna balance that out? And the truth is, John Cena figured it out a long time ago, and it's best just to roll with it. You paid your money, man. Do what you want.
Yep.
You come into the ring, I'm gonna pull you out. But do what you want.
Next up, Carmella pinned Asuka to retain the SmackDown's women's title in 11 minutes. The story here, Dogg, is at the end. Ellsworth is unmasked. Got a huge pop. The crowd cheered Carmella's win. Quote, you could see this crowd that just wanted to see something they saw as newsworthy. He gave it 1.5 stars, but this is interesting. Why Ellsworth's here?
Well, at the time, he was fresh off a running literal promo I cut earlier on the podcast, Any Man with Two Hands Has a Fighting Chance. Yeah. He got a promo in the ring, and right, wrong, or indifferent, we talked about it a lot afterwards. You know what I mean? There was a lot of Ellsworth talk, and so it would be funny. And we, being the kind of smart marks we are too, creating the show, we know we have to conduct business, but can we give you a little bit of what you love too? You know what I mean? And so That's what we did. And truth be told, for all some obvious reasons, we can move on to the next question.
Next up, AJ Styles beat Shinsuke to retain the WWE title in a last man standing match. 31 minutes these two guys go.
Yeah.
From the Observer, it says the first 27 or so felt like one of those long matches in Japan where it looks good on paper, but is just missing the mark. Not sure what was wrong working together. Styles did the forearm over the ropes and out of the ring. They did their thing in there, Dogg.
Yeah.
Last few minutes of this match were the hottest thing and really the best thing on the show, and it's still, from the Observer, got 4 stars, Dogg.
Wow.
It's a great match. Is 31 minutes too long, though?
I don't know. You know what I mean?
They still got 4 stars.
Look, I think that totally depends
Yeah.
on the individuals. You know, not often, but sometimes I agree with them, and I do agree with them. It was a Japanese match, and it wasn't See, I say things and then I go like, I don't mean that. But it was more constructed, in my opinion, with a Japanese mindset and not the. And look, maybe I'm 100% wrong, and because this is just my opinion, and it's actually outside my comfort zone, Japanese wrestling, period. Just because I'm not educated in it, but I think all of their matches were legendary in Japan, and all got a less than review in America, domestically speaking. So I don't know if the work is different or is expected to be different in one or the other, or if, look, their matches, we booked them, and we booked them in 3 because, man, this is the greatest wrestling match in the history of wrestling matches. Let's do it as many times as possible. And everybody who was involved in it kind of was like, they weren't as good as they were in Japan, I guess. You know what I mean? And so I just don't know the answer to the same question that Dave asked. I don't know what was missing. I don't know. Are they older? Yeah. But and I don't know. I don't know. Is the audience different, invested in Nakamura than we are in Nakamura or AJ? And like, so I don't know. I don't know how to compare that or what to compare it to, you know?
It could be a lot of things. I mean, one, if you go back and watch it, there's a lot of 10 counts for a last standing match.
Yeah.
Last man standing match.
That's time consuming, man.
Yeah.
You drop a dude and then tell the ref, okay, count him. I mean, there's 30 seconds about to go
And it's
by
killing
because
momentum.
we count 10 by 3s, you know what I mean? And 1.
Sure.
2. So yeah, it was time consuming, but look, these guys can do it, man, and they did it, and it got 4 stars. I don't know.
Yeah.
You question if it was good or not, and you give it 4 stars.
Would the last few minutes be as hot if we didn't have to struggle?
If you didn't
through the
have
first?
the
You never know.
build, yeah. And so it's hypocrisy.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, here to tell you a little bit about the nonstop savings happening over here at SaveWithConrad.com. Are high credit card balances holding you down on the card? If you're looking to give a guitar shot to your credit card debt or give your home the push it deserves with some upgrades and remodeling, you need to go to SaveWithConrad.com. That's right, SaveWithConrad.com. Conrad and his team are routinely helping my world listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. Oh, did I mention you get to skip your next 2 house payments? Take a cue from the last outlaw, because if anybody knows how to get the bag, it's me. Strut on over to SaveWithConrad.com today and see how much money you can save for free. That's right, it's SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
Start wrapping this up. Ronda Rousey beat Nia Jax in a DQ. Bliss was also in there as well.
Yeah.
Jax retained the Raw Women's title. Right after the end, Bliss cashes in, and Alexa Bliss pinned Nia Jax to win that Raw Women's title in 31 seconds. The whole post-match angle and the cash-in was absolutely great. Was this the best-case scenario for Rousey's first singles match in the company?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for a lot of reasons too, and you know, that's what the viewer a lot of times sees the final product and doesn't know the conversation / meetings / pre-meetings for the meetings that went into and conversing about exactly that decision. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? Well, if you have an hour, I can tell you why we came to that conclusion. You know what I mean? And it's going to involve about 7 other people's names, because it never just goes into, well, if you give it to her here, what do you do down there? You know what I mean? So the conversation has been had. To me, that's fun. Like Alexa Bliss cashes in, she wins the title, and now the baddest woman on the planet and the biggest baddest woman on the planet are all pissed at me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's storytelling at its finest. And Paige turning, like, I got to go to the next chapter to see how Alexa Bliss is going to, get away with this.
And it was believable. If Alexa Bliss is going to get that win over Nia Jax, she better get beat down beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I thought it made perfect sense.
And last but not least, Braun Strowman won the men's Money in the Bank ladder match over Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Bobby Roode, The Miz, and Kofi in almost a 20-minute match. Of course, the end of this, Dog, they're really pushing the idea of Lesnar versus Strowman. Observer gives it 4.25 stars here.
Yeah.
It's got to be prideful to go, hey, we pulled all this off. We got a great match out of it.
Yeah.
Also, from you personally looking at it, Dog, looking back at it, Braun gets the win, but no SmackDown competitor won either Money in the Bank match. Is that something you bring up? Does it hurt the brand, especially going into a Fox deal here?
Yeah, it's definitely something I bring up. I mean, I think if you don't bring it up, you're selling yourself short and your show short. And look, another Vinceism he gave me was fight for your show. It's your show. What do you want to do? And so I would pitch what I wanted to do, and make him tell me no. You know what I mean? No, we're not doing that. And okay, well, that's what I wanted to do for my show. I want the ratings to be, you know what I mean? Like, it's, so I fight for it, and I give them what I thought I was giving them some of what they wanted. It felt pretty good. You know what I mean? It felt pretty good. But it also, you always have the naysayers, and they're the loudest. So that's a trick, man. And I ain't learned it yet, to drown those out. You know what I mean?
All right, Dog, before we get out of here real quickly, let's get to a couple of fan questions and a top dog, and we'll head home for the evening. Dog, let's see. We've got Suds McStash hit us up. Why are the biggest stars in wrestling in ladder matches, and how did the ladder match, this is in his opinion, he says it's become meaningless to the current sport. They have them every other night in other companies. So first of all, why are the biggest stars get into the ladder matches?
Well, I think he's actually talking about the booking of the other company, and they do put their stars and I would call it hot shotting, but I would say we did the exact same thing at this time with our limited roster. Everything I was doing on SmackDown was hot shotting too, so I totally get it. It comes along with the 50-50 booking, unless you have 7,000 talent, and then which 6,090 of them don't ever get used. So again, back to the question. I don't think it's all the top stars, but I would suggest that yes, they happen often, and the more often they happen, the less they mean. So he's 100% right there with that part of your statement. But what I would argue is in the WWE, I think the top guys for the moment, but also the top guys for the future make it into these meaningful ladder matches, which are definitely for something. You don't just have a ladder match. There's got to be something hanging up there that everybody really wants. You know what I mean? And so I feel like we try to be judicious in that way on our side of the street, and that's really all we can do is try to keep our side of the street clean. You know what I'm saying?
Collingwood Mag hit us up, #AskDog. He said, looking back on it now, did the AJ and Shinsuke match and trilogy program live up to the expectations and complete the vision that everyone had hoped for putting them together?
So look, the short answer is no. But the short answer, that's my personal answer. I don't know who else watched it and went, are you effing crazy, Road Dogg? It was the best thing I've ever seen. And people did. So I never, and this is sad, I never saw them work in Japan. I only heard about the iconic matches from other people who worked in Japan. So when I saw this, I thought, oh, that was a great friggin' match. You guys had a great match. But that was that for me. And so it didn't reach my expectations, but that's my fault because I had false expectations. They were projected. They weren't real. You know what I mean? They weren't reality based. They were in my brain. Oh my God, this must be the match made in heaven. You know what I mean? And it was just a great match. And while that's all saying a lot, it's not saying holy Toledo. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Dylan, I don't mean to sound judgmental about them because both those guys work circles around me on their worst day and my best. So I'm not.
They had already set a bar high. Then your mind sets it even higher. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, it was impossible for them to clear my.
But it was a great trilogy.
100%.
It was a great trilogy.
And money making. So it was a good 3-month run. Yes.
And last but not least, Dylan Lehigh says, Dogg, do you think Joe could have been a Universal Champion during this era?
100%. 100%. And we talk a lot about total packages. He's the guy whose body is passable because his shoulders and chest are bigger than his gut.
Huge.
And so he's not John Morrison, but he looks the part. His promos were incredible, and his work rate, if anybody even cares about that, because it is the last on the list, is up there too. You know what I mean? He's credible with everybody. So yeah, he could totally have been the champ.
And every time I walk out of the bathroom, I walk out like Joe after I've taken a shower. I got my boxers pulled up, and I got a towel, and I'm like, what's going on?
I need a video of that. I need a video of that.
All right, Dogg, as we get out of here next week, we're talking about King of the Ring 1998. You and Billy are taking on the new Midnight Express with Jim Cornette.
Oh,
we're going to talk about all kind of injuries.
Who was the new? Was it?
No, spoiler. We're not going to spoil.
My bad.
You got to tune in. You got to tune in. Okay. We got all kind of injuries. DX, Mick Foley getting thrown off a cage. So much more. Check it out next week. King of the Ring 1998. Before we get out of here, we're going to get to Top Dog and then move on. But first, over on Ad-Free Shows, you can get a free trial. Get early ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts starting at just $9. And you can enjoy the first week with us completely free just because you watch this and learn.
Hey, run down real quick who all has a podcast on there.
You've got Matt Hardy. You've got Jim Ross. You've got Tony Schiavone. You've got Mick Foley. You've got me and Nick Patrick. You've got Mike Chioda. You've also got a ton of Jeff Jarrett. Maybe you've heard of him.
I might have mentioned that.
A lot of them. Plus, they're doing bonus shows that you can only get if you are on ad-free shows. So go over to adfreeshows.com and start your free trial today. If you'd like us to talk about your product, go to advertisewithdogg.com.
Advertise with Dogg.
We would love to bloviate about whatever you've got going on.
If it's one thing I can do, it's bloviate.
Like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star platforms on all ratings. Leave us a message. Leave us who you would like to see. Who's your all-time? I saw one of the questions. Let me go give them credit because I want to ask everybody to quit. The Real Thick Shady wanted to take 8 competitors from any time era and put them in a all-star Money in the Bank ladder match. So if you're watching this, especially on YouTube, comment below and let us know your 8 you would love to see in an all-time
And look, it goes
match.
so much deeper. Like you think, oh, just my 8 favorites. No, man, you got to put guys in there that are going to flourish in this daredevil, high-flying environment. Because, look, I'm not going to put Earthquake in there. You know what I mean? Like, even though there's a great spot with him jumping around a ladder and the guy going, oh, and falling off. Like, I'm not going to put him in there. But so anyway, that's interesting. Note to self, my top number is 5 in this all-star ladder match. If I was doing it, I would have 5 people in this ladder match. But having said that, they're doing it with 3 on each brand. So with respect to the being, equality to the brands, I get 6.
All right. Leave that in the comments below. We want to hear your dream matches there. Follow us on YouTube, on social
media. And do you want to know if they rehearsed it all week, too?
No, we want to give them a week. Not
because
just a
truth
weekend.
be told, I think those individuals that want to know that would also pay top dollar for recordings of the rehearsal.
I also don't think they listen to this podcast.
Yeah, they don't.
I think
they
they're
hate
listening
me.
to this for fun.
They hate. They're listening to this to just bury me every time I go. What were we talking about again?
Well, we're not going to focus on that negative. We're going to go out on a high note, let you spread some positivity,
Good.
Dog.
Good.
Let's do top dog. Throwing 60 seconds on the clock before we get out of here, and you can tell us what you are thankful for in your life right now, Mr. Brian James.
Okay. So what are we doing? Top dog or?
Oh no, I meant to do the thankful minute. Sorry,
Let's
that's
do
on
the
me.
thankful minute.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I just got
I got
confused.
both. It started.
And
go!
it's on. Listen, this is an easy one. I thought about it actually earlier. I am thankful for my mom. We talked about this one time, and I cried. I don't think I'll cry this time. I did this morning when I thought about it, but I won't now. Just that song, "Till You Can't," a country song, and I forget the guy's name, but man, it says, "Take that phone call from your mama and just talk away, because you'll never know how bad you want her when you can't someday." And so it just makes me think of my mother, and it makes me think of the people. Out of all the people in the world, and again, I only have my personal reference, I am the most happy that I was given by God to my mom. My dad, questionable at times, but very thankful for my mother and the life lessons she taught me, and they get passed down to my grandkids.
Boom! Nicely said. Shout out to Cody Johnson for that song.
Cody Johnson, dadgummit. Also Entertainer of the Year. Like he was, and I'll tell you this year, and it's already happening, but Jelly Roll, I mentioned him, got a deal on Hulu that tells his life story coming around. It's a redemption story, man, and who doesn't like that? Disney won't make it because there's curse words and jail terms, but it's, I don't know, man, it's awesome. So there'll be a cool movie about his life one day.
Shout out to Jelly Roll and all the good things he's doing,
Yeah,
man.
I want to try to hook up with him, man. One
Let's
time
do it.
before he got huge, he retweeted me. Then he got huge, and now he won't. I actually had a song idea for him today in Planet Fitness on the hydro bed, and I tweeted him about it.
We're going to
So,
share
anyway.
it. Follow us at Brian R.D. James, at the Casio Kid, at You Didn't Know Pod, and tweet at Jelly Roll. Tell him we'd love to have him on You Didn't Know podcast. For Mr. Brian R.D.
May as well
James,
try, right?
Yeah, I am Casio.
Amen.
Thanks for joining us, and if you
Thank
didn't
you,
enjoy
guys.
this episode, we got 2 words for you.
Suck it.